It's a hot one today. Hi everyone, welcome back. I'm trying to get back to doing what I used to do. I used to make these really raw, gritty videos which people seem to like, but at the moment I seem to be making videos that people don't like as much. I don't know what it is. I feel my viewerships maybe changed, and I've been experimenting a bit. I've been trying to do videos that tie into modern culture a bit to see if that blows up my channel, but it doesn't seem to resonate with you guys. It seems that you're not interested in the celeb drama. So I've taken that on board and I'm trying to pivot again. It's generally a video I never thought I would make. I generally never thought I would be in this position, and the position I'm in now is that I have no friends. And when I say no friends, I have no one that I can text if I feel down. I don't have anyone to send reels to or anything. That's just the state of play, and I don't want to make this like a woe is me video. Like, I'm going to try as hard as I can to not make it like that. I just wanted to talk a bit about female loneliness, because obviously we see a lot online about male loneliness, and I know that is a problem, and I'm not discrediting that, but I think sometimes female loneliness just gets pushed down and it's not talked about. And I see people in the podcast space saying that females don't feel depressed because they traditionally have more people to rely on, and I don't think it's true for everyone. I genuinely think it's a myth that a lot of females have this massive girl squad. I myself feel so much pressure to have the girl squad. It's almost seen as a badge of honour for females. You have to have that girl squad. You have to have that friendship group where you can go to endless brunches with and have lattes and just talk about boys. But not everyone has that. Not everyone has that girl squad. And I think a lot of this pressure probably started from Sex and the City, where women were told that your female friendship group should have as much importance as your relationship with a man, and that we shouldn't view them as separate entities. We have to view it as you have to have the really strong, deep female friendships, and then you also have to have the really deep, strong relationship. And it's almost for women that you're not allowed to live without them. If you have the deep, strong relationship with a man, but you don't have that friendship group, then there's something lacking. And then also, if you have that tight-knit friendship group, but you don't have the man, then we can't win. We're always seen as something that's lacking. And it happened to me a few months ago where I realised that I don't have a single friend, and how did this happen? And if I think traditionally about my friendships, they tend to be seasonal. I had a really strong group of girlfriends at university, and then obviously we moved back to our hometown. You do keep in contact for a while, you do keep in contact via text, but it kind of fell by the wayside, and I lost contact with those people. And they eventually got married and had children, and I was on a different path. So I lost contact with that group. And then I've had predominantly friends through work, and then those friends left and they went on to a different path, and then they found partners. And I realised I was left with no one to talk to. The thing with friendships is it's a two-way dynamic. You can't expect a ride or die friendship if you're not putting in the effort yourself, if you're not sustaining the relationship. And I was definitely pulling back, not being as available, concentrating on my channel, and caught between a rock and a hard place where I wanted to change my life, but I couldn't change my life, but at the same time have this amazing social life. There's no way, if you're doing a full-time job, there's no way you can be a YouTuber, create videos on the weekend, and have an amazing social life. Something had to give, and it was my friendships. And I've slowly realised this year that I've been falling deeper and deeper into a depression. And I really couldn't work out why. And I was trying to rack my brains, and it's because I've always kept a lid on my feelings. Before, I would anaesthetize with food, and I'm not doing that now. And I would anaesthetize by being on dating apps and trying to find someone. And this has honestly been probably the hardest part of my life, because I haven't had those crutches to anaesthetize my pain. And it's probably, I would say it's probably the lowest I've ever been, like ever. And I've always thought to myself, oh, I've hit rock bottom before. But I genuinely now think I'm at rock bottom. And I've been feeling it for a little while, and it's like I don't want to go into work, and I don't want to be around people, and I called in sick to work. And I just know I need to change my life, because I'm genuinely unhappy with every single part of my life. And usually when someone's down, they're down for one reason, and it's that reason that sticks out. But I realized I was down for several reasons in my life. I hate my job. I hate my channel's not blowing up. I hate that I'm single. I hate that I have no friends. I hate where I live. So it's almost come as a tower moment. And if you don't follow tarot, basically a tower moment is when that card is picked. It's basically the building is on fire and you have to jump. And sometimes when you're in a state of inertia, you won't pull the ripcord. And it's like I wouldn't leave my corporate job. And I was just hanging on to this job because in my mind, I was like, okay, I'll get monetized. This is like the dream. The dream was to just get monetized, leave my corporate job, and just have this channel that was flying, but it didn't materialize. And it's not healthy to have no friends. It's not healthy to just work, eat, sleep, make videos, and that's it. I think I was operating on autopilot, because I was just making videos and thinking, yeah, that's fine, making videos. And then basically my dad's got cancer, and it made me just reevaluate everything, thinking this life is so precious. And you always think in your head that when your parents die, it's going to be just like a scene from The Notebook, where they're going to be old and they're just going to die of old age, and it's going to be fine, and you're going to be settled. You're going to be settled and married and have children, and it's obviously going to be sad, but it's something you deal with. But to be in the position I am now, where I'm obviously single, my life is not sorted, I'm thinking about the mortality of my parents and being an orphan but not being in a relationship, it sent me into this like massive tailspin that I was not prepared for. And obviously I haven't had all the things that I usually just push all my feelings down. And we think my dad's going to be fine, so it's going to be okay, but it's just something that was not on my radar. I was thinking, have I caused this? Because I obviously want to go to America, but I know that's not true in my head. But it made me think that I don't have anyone to talk to about this. I've isolated myself so much that I don't have anyone to text about it. Because this is the thing, when you try and branch out and change your life, it's difficult to hold on to the old friends because they're on a different path. And then, like I've said before, I've tried networking with other people, and they don't want to know, because I've made this phrase up. I never copy phrases. You trade with who you are, not who you want to become. And this is my problem. Obviously, trying to trade with people that are so far advanced in their career than me, it's not going to happen, because we're not on the same level. We're not on the same level professionally. So unless you get someone that's at that stage where they see a spark in you and they want to mentor you, that is probably really rare. And it's going to be someone that is really far up in the trajectory of their career, where they see a spark in someone and think, yeah, that girl's got it. I'm going to help them. And I've been thinking as well, why do I always develop these limerent crushes on people? I always become obsessed with people online that are unattainable and unreachable. And I've had to sit with that. And what it is, I think necessarily, it's that they represent an escape. They represent an escape for me, being plucked from the UK, being put in America, and they represent the escape of me solving all my problems at once. It would mean all the things I hate would be wiped out. So the corporate job I hate would be wiped out. I'd be financially provided for. That problem would disappear. I would have a massive friendship group. So my problem of loneliness would disappear. I would marry into status and influence. So I would also be part of the network. And that's what I had to think, is that it wasn't necessarily the person that I wanted. It's all that they represented. It's all that came with it. And that's what I wanted rather than the person. I have to sit and think, why do I just project onto these online people that I don't know? Because at the end of the day, they're human people. Like, sorry to lower the tone, but these people are gonna like fart, they're going to probably leave the toilet seat up, they're gonna do things that annoy me, they're gonna have a bad mood, but we always project a halo effect onto these people online, and we tend to think that they're perfect, but they're not. They're just regular people going through the exact same things that we go through, but we project onto them because they have the money, the lifestyle, the fame, etc. If I really drill down, it's because they represent everything that I want. And it's the magic wand effect. It's the magic wand effect, or the almost like the Cinderella effect as well, of marrying someone and it just wiping away all your problems. But in reality, it doesn't wipe away all your problems, because, like you guys always tell me in the comments, if you marry someone like that, there's the trade-off. There's always the trade-off when you marry someone like that. And you know what the trade-offs are. More likely to cheat. They have more options. You have to be this almost unattainable Jackie O figure. And I love your guys' comments, because it really gets me thinking about why men marry the Jackie O, but it's not enough for them. They always have to go with a Marilyn. And it's because the Marilyn figure has that specific thing that's missing from the Jackie O type, but they never leave the Jackie O type because they just want everything. They want the Jackie O, but they want the Marilyn as well. Yeah, you don't have the financial pressure, but rich men tend to want to sleep with multiple women. There's so much internet drama about at the moment, and I'm not going to draw on specific people, but I generally think rich people have an ego complex where literally one pussy is not enough for them. They have to have multiple women, and I don't know what it is. People cheat depending on the options they have. So if you're a rich person, you're getting DM'd all the time by people, so they have more opportunity to cheat. And that's the trade-off. Also, just because you're in a couple doesn't mean you're necessarily going to have a lot of friends. There are women in couples that don't have a lot of friends. I don't think it's just contained to the single woman having no friends, etc. There are people in married relationships that have no friends, and they rely on the partner. But that's also where I think it's a problem, if you're relying on your partner too much for the friendship. That's going to create its own can of worms. Like I said, I never thought I'd be in this situation where I would have 0 friends at my age. It just needs to be highlighted, because I see so much information online as if it's all about males and it's only males that have the problem. It's only males that struggle dating. It's only males that are lonely. It's only males that have problems achieving in life. I think it's pretty much across the board. And women feel exactly the same as men. I'm not eating properly. Yesterday I had a bowl of porridge at lunchtime, and then I just had a bagel for dinner because I just wasn't hungry. I just felt so down that I'm not eating properly, and I physically don't feel hungry. And that's not like me, because I'm such a foodie and I love eating and I love food. So for me to not want to eat, I know there's something wrong. I know that I'm really down. That's all my feelings pretty much distilled. This video is mainly for anyone that is in the same situation as me and they literally have no friends. And it's generally more common than you think. There are so many people that have 0 friends and no one to talk to.